to preserve their ties to other people.
I want to respond to that.
Yeah.
Talks about the 7 years of famine followed by the 7 years of plenty, right?
Mm-hmm.
I lost my full-time job in 2004, 7 years ago.
Right.
So I experienced 7 years of famine.
Right.
Right. So I'm looking forward to 7 years of fat years. Right. Where are they? Where are those 7 years of fat? Right. The fat years, folks. You could make that happen. Send your non-tax deductible dollars to Rabbi Rabs and Levi Ford. Right. Support Torah Talks. Right. Because I've had 7 years of famine. Right. We need to have 7 years of plenty. Right. We have to have the cup spilleth over the top. Right. We have to have those. Send your money. Make sure to support Torah Talks. It's a mitzvah, and with the holidays coming up, do the right thing before you go out and buy your iPhone 5 and your iPhone 4 and all these other nonsense things that you don't need. Right? How about spending where the money is needed in the Torah Talks? Okay. I know all about years of famine and years, and I saved tremendously during my years of when I was working. But they didn't last. That money does not last long enough. That's the problem. It's really hard to make enough money so that when you have 7 years of famine, you have enough to make it through that. I didn't have enough. I don't know anybody could save, that much. Go ahead.
I remember when I first came to LA, and I was meeting attractive women, and I was sleeping with them, and I thought, wow, this is going to be a time of plenty. I'm going to really be having a great time in LA. And you know what? That only lasted about a year or so. And since then, it's been a lot more famine than feast. Which is probably just as well for my spiritual development and for the well-being of the young women of Los Angeles. Okay, sports fans. Rabbi Beryl.
Wait, I want to see the chat room real quick while you're doing that. Okay, well, say your thing. You got to read it.
So Yitzhak attempts to salvage Esau as well. In the end, he fully recognizes that only through Yaakov can the mission of uniqueness and godliness that is to become the Jewish people be fulfilled. So not every Jew can be a Kiruv Jew. It's good to reach out. It's more important to keep up your own Torah study and observance of Torah mitzvahs. See, I found that in reaching out, I often compromised my Torah observance. Like I thought, I'll walk over to that bar or that secular party on a Friday night, and I'll talk to some girls, and I end up doing things that Moses would not have wanted. So, Kiruv can be dangerous. So many rabbis in Kiruv, they start, splunking chicks. And because, you're out there and you're like, let me makarev them, let me bring them closer, and let me show them that the path of Torah is one of sweetness and light. And soon you find yourself compromising, and one thing leads to another. And it's like, it's not what it looks like, honey.
Not only should a Kiruv person not compromise what they're doing, their mitzvahs, but they should not present a compromised Torah to the people that they're trying to reach. Outreach with watered-down Torah is not outreach of Torah. That's outreach of something watered down. That is bringing a perverted, watered-down form of heretical form nonsense, something that kind of resembles Judaism, and saying, look, this is palatable for all you folks, so everybody just drink the Kool-Aid, right? It's better that you tell them what it is. Tell them the bare bones truth. Don't water it down. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell them what Judaism really is. Don't compromise the message. And then let them decide if it's for them or not. Because you haven't accomplished anything when you bring the Torah down to them and you change the Torah and bring it to them. You need to bring them up to the Torah. The Torah never changes. If you can't bring them up, then they're not coming. But don't change the Torah and bring it down to them.
So Yaakov, Jacob,
I'm going to say that 90% of today's Kiruv organizations, or 90%, I shouldn't say that, 90% of the people that are involved in Kiruv, that's the better thing to say, water down and sugarcoat Torah, and that's why I have so many problems with the Kiruv movement today. Go ahead.
But it's not what we do here. We bring people up to the Torah.
I do not do
bring the Torah down.
I don't do Kiruv. I'm the opposite. I'm putting out the message I'm telling people, because I believe in full disclosure. I believe that people need to hear what Judaism really is. So I tell you, look, you could end up like me and Levi. It's the worst possible thing. Don't get involved in it unless you have all the facts. I'm not here to tell people to do Torah and mitzvahs. I'm here to tell you what the Torah and the mitzvahs are, and then you can decide what you want to do.
So Jacob feels like he's entitled to rest on his laurels and to savor his accomplishments. He has overcome the aggression of his external enemies, and he wants only peace and serenity in his old age, but it doesn't turn out that way. So many of us find reality so painful that we live in these fantasies about our own greatness, or at least I do. So this does not serve me. I mean, dull the pain when I'm drifting off into thought, but watch what happens to me. When I start fantasizing I'm a great man, I kind of lose awareness of reality. I start compressing and pulling down.
Yeah, you're so great. Let me bring you down to size. You ready, Mr.
Yeah.
Ego? You know what you are? You're a guy that can't even afford a pot to piss in. You have to take a shit in a Ralph's bag. I mean, you can't
What
even...
kind of talk is that for a Torah show?
I'm telling you exactly where you are. The next time that you start putting yourself as the almighty God, look at me, I'm so amazing. Oh, I'm so big. Just remember, you're below the poverty line, are you not?
Yeah.
You can't even afford a pot to piss in.
Yeah.
You had to take a crap on Yom Kippur in a bag. Just remember that story.
It was really hard, aiming it into the bag. Have you ever tried to do that with a Ralph's bag?
No, because I own my own John. Okay, so the next time you start putting yourself, remember that story. That's going to be your story. Remember that, and you're going, God, I'm a loser. I can't even afford a toilet. Okay.
So Judaism does not know this retirement stuff. It allows for changes in circumstances, occupations, and interests, but man was created for work. One must always be busy with productive matters, such as Torah study, good deeds, self-education, Alexander technique, blogging, even till the end of life. Kind of adapt to Rabbi Wein there. So Yosef is a dreamer who meets reality. Now, I've spent much of my life just dreaming about girls, and dreaming about MTV girls, and dreaming about Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and about being a great man who other people bow down to. Now, this has not served me well. Now, I'm like that guy in the bar stool who's always telling you about how great he is. Now, he could have been a contender, and if only people had, given him a fair chance, and then the world doesn't recognize his genius. And I keep going with my notes on the Parsha, but the rabbi needs to read the chat because, he might get some, feedback on himself here. So, he's got to squeeze these little.
Keep going.
moments. I can't read it because you're on the computer there. I'm trying to read my notes about Torah, but the rabbi's oh, maybe someone said something about me. Maybe I can get a scrap of attention here in the chat room. Oh, let me carefully peruse every word. Maybe there's something about.
No, I don't want to. If somebody asked a question, I don't want to miss it. Go ahead.
So Yosef is sorely tempted by opportunities that arise in his life, he's seemingly easy prey for the jaded wife of Potiphar. But at the last moment, he resists the passion and temptation of the moment, realizes the destructive consequences of immoral behavior. And one of the things he did is the image of his father came to his mind. So I tell young men who are tempted to self-abuse, instead think about your mother's pure love for you. Go take a cold shower. Go for a brisk run. Ask yourself, how would my Rebbe feel about what I'm about to do? The more you are connected to other people, the less likely you are to go off the rails. I keep going off the rails because I lead a solitary life, kind of lost in these fantasies about my own greatness.
I can't listen to that anymore. Just stop.
Okay, so Yosef remains a holy Jew in spite of his being exposed to the decadence of the prevailing Egyptian culture. Much of the same could be said about me and my immersion in a certain sector of the entertainment industry. So Yehuda is much more cautious and conservative. He has seen the outside world, the general society, and frightened to become a part of it. Yehuda's lost sons has suffered tragedy and disappointment. He has made errors risen from sin, such as banging that hooker. I mean, no, she wasn't a hooker. She was just dressed as a hooker, Tamar. And he's willing to sacrifice all to remain Jewish and to save other Jews. So Yehuda sees Yosef's way of mixing with the Goyim as being dangerous, too risky.
Okay, go
ahead. I'm done.
No, we didn't. Let's cover that. You touched on it, and it's very important. I think we talked about it last year, but let's just make sure everybody understands. With Yehuda and Tamar. Tamar was married to.
You keep up the good work there.
What? Tamar was a woman, and she was married to... Yehuda had two sons. What were the names? Do you remember? Onan and somebody.
Perhaps.
Yeah, Onan and Reps. No. I can't think of the other one. And she was married to one of the sons, and the son died. So we have a